I'm going to try to get through this very quickly. So I'm going to do a quick mini case study on Drake's career. The reason I'm doing this is because in my accelerator, at this point we had over 2,000 members, producers, DJs, artists, and I hear this all the time. It's like, man, Drake got signed because he was talented. And I never want to take away nobody's talent away from them, but the reality is, at least now from my experience that I've been working in the trenches and work with a lot of different labels and clients, yes, the talent's got to be there because otherwise you can't build demand. But I always argue it's about 10% about the talent, 90% about everything else, which includes marketing, you understanding how to make connections, networking, the legal, all that other stuff that comes later. And I'm going to show you guys the same thing. If anybody thought that Drake just blew up because Lil Wayne signed him and somehow he stumbled up on his music and that was, that was the end, because that's kind of what you usually hear out there. I'm going to actually show you what the reality is so you understand the realistic idea or blueprint how this actually works. Next time I'm going to do probably a case study on Russ, because I'm sure you guys want to see that one. So again, the reason I'm doing this is not to like overwhelm me and be like, well, shit, I have no chance. I want to do this because I think it's empowering. Like once you see what Drake did and the elements or the aspects that happened in his career chronologically, you could be like, all right, I could use, that tool that he was using or that strategy and emulate it, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to get into it. And again, I think that if artists understand how all this works, it'll just improve the ecosystem of the industry because it'll make better artists that can partner with better labels, vice versa, and better services out there. So let me just start with his film career, because I'll always get this from artists as well, like, nah, his Degrassi days have nothing to do with music. So let's just talk about that. So in 2001, he gets the opportunity to be, have that role of Jimmy. I've never seen any of the shows personally, but there's all research that I did. So it's from 2001 to 2009, he did 138 episodes on Degrassi. 2002, another short cameo in another film called Soul Food. 2004, his own version of MTV Cribs, which was actually put up on like local Toronto channels and it was consumed on social media with big numbers because he was great at MySpace marketing. We'll get into it in a second. 2006 to 2009, there's Beyond the Break, another show. He just played himself in a few episodes. 2007, Charlie Barlow, that's a film. This was in theaters in Canada. 2008, Spring Break, which is like the movie version of like, I don't know, like imagine you guys watch, what was it called? The Will Smith show. Fresh Prince. I don't know why I forgot that. So imagine if Fresh Prince had like a 3-hour movie, right, that they made after like this thing being on TV for 10 years. So that was one of those. 2008, The Border, just another thing that he did an episode on. 2009, Us and Them. It was a local Toronto documentary doing a short film on, artists, actors in their hometown, right? Just so you guys understand, Toronto, the prime city has about 3 million people in population. You add the suburbs and all of that, it's probably like LA, 5 million people that can consume your content. Because a lot of people will, you guys, including me, probably heard of Drake when he did the song Best I Ever Had in 2009, probably for most of us. But I'm going to show you how he's had an impact in the U.S. way before that and how he went through the industry. So 2004, he was in a short-lived group called The Renaissance. I don't know if you guys know who Melanie Fiona is. She did songs with CeeLo. Great artist. So he was already doing music with her. This is in 2004, right? Remember the day 2009 is probably when most of you in this room heard about him. So next, 2004, MySpace, raps, and music. So he's really leveraging the MySpace platform. In the next screen, we're going to see how many fans he had. This man was doing mini mall tours, like going to the mall, interacting with his fans. Yes, it started with the fact that he was on Degrassi and all those different films in Canada, right? He was like a young celebrity. You have to understand that he had major exposure through these films and shows. So his MySpace was going bonkers basically back then. He was one of the artists that was really going viral many times. And some of these things that you see on there are just, you can find YouTube videos on this. You know what I'm saying? You can do your own due diligence, and you should. Don't ever take everything with a grain of salt, even what I'm saying. Always do your due diligence and your own research. I'm just giving you guys some examples. 2005, I didn't even know this till recently, and this was from Kids Takeover. I like that blog, if you guys follow it on Instagram. So he actually got flown out by Dre, him and 40, to do a writing session because somehow Dre heard about him. It actually turned out that Dre sent them home because they screwed it up. You guys might have heard that, like Drake had girl problems. He didn't show up to the session, whatever. So he got sent home. He still made $10,000. However, the reason I want to point this out is because a lot of artists that wouldn't have any other leverage might have gotten blackballed from the industry. Like blackball it's a real thing. It just means somebody that has a lot of leverage, that's up in the industry, could simply tell all the other people that he knows to say, look, man, this artist didn't run me the right way. Don't do business with him. So it's not like a thing that like it's always, going to happen, or it's a definite like demise to your career, but it's a thing that could happen. So Drake recovered from that, in my opinion, because he already had a lot of leverage. This man was already known in Canada. I mean, the word about him started to spread. 2006, first official mixtape hosted by DJ Smalls. I mean, that was production from Boy Wonder. He had Trey Songz on that. I mean, this thing was recorded in 2009. We're going to get into the next. 2007, 2008. Oh, yeah, and look, this mixtape in 2006 had major radio play at 93.5, which is a major hip-hop radio station in Toronto. Think about that reach. I just told you, suburban area plus downtown, that's 5 million people that could listen to it. 2007, 2008, more mixtapes, right, that were dropped. 2008 is when the Cash Money, Young Money situation is starting to happen. 2009 is when you guys probably heard of them. So let me get into some of these things right here. So, again, 2001 through 2009, when he was on Degrassi, he was making $40,000 a year in salary. That's what I read in 2 different blogs, right? So some of that money, he talks about this in the interview. This top thing, I did a video on this on my YouTube channel in 2020. It was a rare interview, and it was either late 2005 or early 2006, Drake talking about how important the marketing is, how important MySpace has been for him, how he's pushing and grinding and spending his own money on constant marketing. This is in 2005. February 2006, Room for Improvement mixtape comes out, right? February is right now, that's early 2006. Summer 2006, there's a few blogs I found that he actually opened up for Ice Cube, got paid $100. The reason I'm pointing this out, because at this point, he's already been at Drake's place writing. He's met Ice Cube. He's met Trey Songz, Boy One, like all these different major people. So the industry clearly knows about him. Besides I can't really put an estimate to it, but maybe 250,000 people that may know him in the Toronto area and probably in the Florida area, because DJ Smalls, he was probably still is a prominent DJ down south. And he hosted his mixtape, the first mixtape. Summer 2000, I already covered that. In 2006-ish, if you guys know, Jay Prince's son. He's a producer for Rap A Lot, right? So he actually stayed in contact with Drake in the early days. He was very close with Lil Wayne. He pitched Drake to Lil Wayne probably 2 years before Drake finally heard of him again. Guess what Lil Wayne said? Get this trash out of my CD deck. You guys probably seen interviews of Jay-Z when he tried to get signed. Went to every label, they said, nah, no talent here. Like, get this shit out of my tape deck. The point I'm trying to say is that usually, yes, the talent matters, but the leverage of when other people in the industry that you know and you trust start talking about a particular artist, your perception of the talent changes. And that's exactly what ended up happening when, again, he got reintroduced to Lil Wayne through another, mixtape, still through Jay Prince's son. He was like, who's that? He was like, that's the dude Drake I told you about a year and a half ago. Oh, shit, but now it's a different situation because now the whole thing is buzzing around the United States and Canada, right? So I want to get Superstar J up here. So the reason I wanted to give this breakdown, again, do your own research, look at it with your own lens, but Drake from 2001 pretty much up until majority of us heard about him in this room, he is creating major influence and he's marketing himself from day one. Remember, Toronto is a huge market. We may not know anything about it because we're all in New York, I'm in the DMV area and all that, but this is like, you could just live off of music in that market depending on what you're doing, whether it's production, you're a cover band, jazz musician, whatever. It's a huge market. So he's been doing that. He's been years of nonstop networking and music making. So even though you guys may have not heard about Drake, the industry has heard about Drake. And that's one way to get out there. Even if you didn't do any type of marketing, people that are in this room today, because they like you, the way you present yourself, whatever, they could give you a chance. It does happen. It's a lot more rare, and it's better that you have leverage through marketing because you can get better terms or deal when it comes to it. But Drake's been doing this since 2002 probably in a real way. And another reason I wanted to, guys, show you this because the tools that I've talked about and the strategies that Drake used, you guys have all of that, but you have way more than that now. MySpace was the name of the big dog in the game in 2005. I think in 2006, Facebook just became available to sign up for anybody without having to have a .edu email. If you guys remember that, like the first from 2003 to 2006, you had to be at college to get access to Facebook. So this is before all of that, right? Now you got TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Pinterest. I mean, I can name top 10. I have clients. I had a girl that was like a guitarist, vocalist. She crushed it on Pinterest. And she sold merch because it's like a 70% female, you know what I'm saying, audience. We didn't really do much on Instagram and other, at least initially, you know what I'm saying? So you have all these tools now. It's super easy to release music. When I think I put a fact up there that he sold 6,000 copies of his first mixtape in 2006. That was probably still physical copies of CDs because, you know, Spotify, it might have been out there. I mean, iTunes Music, I think, was emerging. That was with the iPhone 2005. But streaming wasn't really there yet. You had to, like, download, rip your own stuff off of, like, torrents or, you know, whatever we had, LimeWire, things like that back in the day. So it was all CDs. That's not easy to do. But I feel like because you have to go through that, it's even probably better because you have to physically touch people and hand them a CD. You can't fake your numbers on Spotify and think you got 30,000 fans, but they're all bots, right? You can't sell CDs to bots. So anyways, I'm going to stop it right there because I want to get Superstar Jay. Is he in the building yet, or you found Parker?